Hello. The Circular Dichroism Databank, or PCDDB, is a public repository that archives and distributes circular dichroism spectra and associated metadata. All entries undergo validation to ensure completeness, consistency and quality, and the entries are linked where appropriate to primary sequence and structural databases, such as Uniprot and the PDB. In this video I'll show you how to deposit a spectrum into the database. First you'll need to create an account and then log in. Your account page will show all your depositions in various stages of completion and those that have been submitted. To request a new PCDDB ID, which is the accession code for an entry, click on Deposit New Spectra. The PCDDB ID is the following format. The letters CD signify that the data is associated with the databank. The following 7 digits are the main entry code. The 8th is used if a revised entry is submitted, and the last 2 are for numbering data series such as the spectra and a thermal melt. These subcodes are created using the duplicate function, which will be demonstrated later. Choose the file you wish to edit and click Manage. The metadata is divided into 7 tables, 5 are mandatory and 2 optional, and there's a separate section for uploading spectral data. To access a table, click Update Category. In the mandatory tables, the essential fields are indicated by an asterisk. Help can be obtained for each field by moving the cursor over the question mark on the left. To save your work, click Update Details. The status box indicates whether the table has been completed or if more data is required. The calibration table is optional. Use this table if instrument calibration has been performed using a spectrum of camphor sulfonic acid or its ammonium salt. The calibration spectrum can be uploaded, and various parameters required for calibration are entered in the fields. The secondary structure table is also optional and can be filled in if a protein has a PDB structure. Enter fractions of secondary structure types calculated from the PDB file by the DSSP algorithm. The values are retrieved by entering the PDB code into the toStruct website, and this can be accessed via other tools in the side menu. The PCDDB accepts the text file format generated by most CD instruments and SRCD beamlines, and also generic files produced by CD-Tool and CD-Tool-X. The fully processed spectrum is essential. This is the spectrum that's been scaled to standard units of delta epsilon or mean residue ellipticity and calibrated if instrument calibration has been carried out. Upload the fully processed file. Then enter the column number for the smooth CD data. For example, in CD-Tool-X gen files, unsmooth data is in column 2, the HT signal is in column 3, and the smooth data is in column 4. Choose the spectral units from the drop-down list, and finally the instrument file format. The spectrum can be reviewed by clicking Chart. You can also upload the raw sample and raw baseline spectra and the HT signals, the average sample and baseline, and the unscaled baseline subtracted spectrum. This allows the quality of the data to be assessed by the validation software. Upload the raw sample data files. By default there are 3 placeholders. This can be increased to a maximum of 10 using the Add More Scans button. Choose the unsmooth data column, which is column 2 in CD-Tool gen files. All raw sample data spectra are available to view. Raw baseline data is treated the same way. For the HT signal, upload the raw sample data scans and choose the appropriate column number. This is column 3 in CD Tool Gen files. If all the tables have been completed and the required spectra uploaded, the validation button will be active. Each validation test is given either a pass, flag, insufficient data or fail, and there's an explanation provided for the results of each test. The depositor can add a note to explain flag or fail results, although data should be reviewed to rectify a fail. Insufficient data usually means the raw data has not been uploaded. The validation software, Dichroism, is described in more detail in another video. If further spectra with similar metadata are to be deposited, the entry can be duplicated. Check all boxes so that all the metadata is copied, and for a data series such as a thermal melt, keep the same head code. For separate experiments, check the Create New Head Code box. In this case, the head code was maintained and the subcode of the new entry was changed from 00 to 01. Then update the appropriate fields. This is a thermal melt, so only the sample temperature and the local file identifier fields in the experimental table need to be altered. Then add the associated spectra. Following validation, the Commit Deposition button will be activated and the data can be deposited into the data bank.